Hello my dears, welcome back to my corner of the internet. I'm Shannon. For today's Vlogmas video, since it is a perfectly beautiful Christmassy afternoon out right now, it is just gently snowing. It's not too cold. This just feels like the right time to sit down and tell you about the lowest rated free Christmas book I could find in the books app on my iPad. Last year I did a similar video. I called it Reading Outside My Comfort Zone, which this definitely was again. But it was fun. And I haven't read any holiday books yet this year. And I was like, I cannot let Christmas come and go without reading at least one holiday book. Although I did write a holiday book this year. Link will be in the description if you're interested in checking it out. So what I did is the same thing I did last year. I went to the books app on my iPad, put in the word Christmas, and saw what came up. I thought it would be fun to read the lowest rated one, which I will say still is 3 stars. So that's not bad. I went and looked it up on Goodreads as well, and it has almost 4 stars there. So it wasn't rated terribly at all. I was hoping I could find like a 1-star one, but I couldn't. So I read this one, and it was called A Countess for Christmas by Anthea Lawson, and it's a novella, which my book is also a novella. And I was excited. It takes place during the Regency era, and I love a good period piece. Also, it's a ghost story. This house is haunted. Like very much literal ghost that they can see. So anyway, before I get ahead of myself here, I'll tell you a little bit about the plot. The book starts off and our main character, Cecilia Fairfax, what a name. I love that. That's a very fancy name. She gets a letter from a man named Liam Terrick, and he's an earl, I think like a lord, and he is with her brother Marcus, and Marcus has been injured. He got shot, and well, he didn't get shot. The Lord, Liam, he was firing this gun, it misfired, and Marcus got injured, and he's lost his sight. But only temporarily. It's coming back. So he is staying at Liam's house, and Liam is writing to Cecilia to let her know that he'll be fine, but for now he's going to stay for a little while. And Cecilia and Liam, they start corresponding for about a month. They're exchanging letters back and forth. Meanwhile, things in the Fairfax Manor, which I think is called Wiltshire Manor, I think, hasn't been great the past while because the matriarch of the family died, and the family has since been in mourning. And their father, he's very ill, although they think most of it is because he's heartbroken that his wife has died. But aside from that, he's got gout and rheumatism, so he's just not in great shape. So Cecilia's there with him, and like I said, the house is in mourning, but they've decided that, you know what, Christmas is coming. Their mom loved Christmas, and so the dad is like, you know what? She would want us to have a beautiful Christmas, and that's what we're going to do. So Cecilia and Liam are corresponding about Marcus. He's still not in great shape. His eyesight's not coming back as quickly as he had hoped it would, but it's coming back slowly but surely. So Liam writes to tell her that he's going to bring Marcus home himself, and they can be expected on December 20th. So now Marcus, of course, as they're getting ready to head home, he wants Lord Terrick, Liam, to come and spend the holidays. Liam lives in this big house all by himself, and Marcus is like, that will not do. You've taken such good care of me. Please come home for Christmas with me. So they arrive. Cecilia's happy to see them. Now, when Marcus and Liam were spending time together, he was telling him about this ghost in their house. And she has a name. Her name's Lizzie. And Liam's like, yeah, okay, buddy, you got a ghost in your house, right? Marcus is like, no, it's true. We do have a ghost in our house. And Marcus is like telling him the history of this ghost and who they think it is and the whole bit. So anyway, they get there. Cecilia's happy to see them, but she's wearing not a very fancy dress because she wasn't expecting Liam to be coming as well. So from there, they're just getting ready for the holidays, and Liam's looking at her with longing because she's beautiful and she's sweet, and he's falling in love with her from the moment he meets her. And she's feeling the same way back. Now, there's a cute character that comes in at one point. Her name's Widow Pomfrey. And I was like, oh, is she going to be like a troublemaker, like a nosy neighbor? But she was actually very sweet, and I liked that character a lot. She wasn't in it a ton, but I thought she was very cute. Next thing we know, it's Christmas Eve. Well, first, wait. Let me back up a minute. At one point, so as the book's going along, they keep seeing this ghost. The ghost keeps being mentioned. And at one point, Cecilia and Liam are walking down to the dining room, I believe, and the ghost pushes Cecilia. And she kind of like bumps into Liam. And then next thing they know, they're under the mistletoe and they have a little kiss. And he gives her one of the berries from the mistletoe and she puts it in her pocket. And it's all very cute. So the ghost is not just a ghost, but she's a matchmaker. So from there, they have this wonderful kiss that they can't stop thinking about it. And then it's Christmas Eve. They have a wonderful time. And that night, as Cecilia's getting ready to go to bed, she sees the old housekeeper. Her name is Mrs. Bees. She's kind of wandering around, and Cecilia's like, go to bed. Get to bed, you silly. It's Christmas Eve. And the old housekeeper's like, no, I need to get the plum cordial out of the cellar outside. And she's like, no, we can get it tomorrow. She's like, no, I need to get it today. So Cecilia's like, I'll go with you and we'll get it together. So Cecilia goes in, Miss Bees unlocks it. Cecilia goes in, grabs a bottle, she comes out. Mrs. Bees is like, we need a second bottle. So Cecilia's like, okay. At this point, like, her patience is wearing thin. She goes in, while she's getting it, Miss Bees, who's like losing her mind at this point, I just think from old age, she forgets Cecilia's in there, closes the door, locks it up. And Cecilia's trapped in there because everyone else is in bed. So she goes to sleep. And then back in the house the next morning, one of the ladies in waiting goes and knocks on Liam's door, and she goes in and she's kind of looking at the bed, sizing it up because they know now Cecilia's missing, but they're all hoping that, you know, she's not actually missing. Maybe she ended up in Liam's bed the night before, but she isn't. She is not in there. And so the lady in waiting tells Liam that Cecilia is missing, and he is like, what do you mean? Of course, it doesn't make any sense to him because, like, why? They had a lovely time. She wouldn't just wander off. And at this point, before the housemaid, the lady in waiting, came in, he had been pondering about how he was going to ask Cecilia to marry him. Now, keep in mind, they've only known each other like 3 days, 4 days. Now, they did have a month's worth of corresponding, but we saw those letters, and they were pretty much to the point about Marcus. They weren't getting to know each other letters. Anyway, so he's like, oh no, I was going to ask her to marry me. Where could she be? So as everyone's sort of gathered, getting ready to go out into search parties, the ghost appears to Liam and leads him to where Cecilia is. So they find her, Cecilia explains what happened, and then they go to find Mrs. Bees to get her to unlock the door. So Cecilia's like, we need to retire this lady. She cannot. She's a menace. So everyone goes to find Mrs. Bees, and Liam stays with Cecilia, and he's talking to her through the door. And she's like, keep talking to me. She sounds very cold, and like, her voice is very weak because, of course, she's been in the cellar all night long. And he says, what should I say? And she says, I don't know. And then just sort of, in spite of himself, he blurts out asking her to marry him. And then he's kind of like, oh, I'm an idiot. Why am I doing this through a cellar door? And then they come back with the keys. They let her out. And then she turns to Liam and she says, I believe you asked me a question. And he says, I did. And he asks it again and she accepts. Then he apologizes to her father. He's like, listen, bro, I know I should have asked you, but... And the dad's like, it's okay. Sometimes you just have to follow your heart. And of course, he's a lord. He's in good standing. That would have been probably a decent marriage prospect for her. So he's not too bothered by it. And that's it. The end. That's literally the whole story. It's a novella. Like I said, it's like 65 pages. But it was a quick, fun read. I read it in like an hour. You know, cheesy, but I liked the ghost. I liked the addition of that into like your typical Christmas story. Loved it. Loved the widow Pomfrey. She was very cute. And then at the end of the book, it said, stay tuned for Marcus's story. So it's going to be like a series, I guess. And it probably already is, because God only knows when this one was published. I didn't check. But if you've got an iPad or an iPhone and you go to the Books app, you will find that. And it's free. It's totally free. And there's a bunch of free Christmas ones. So I might read another one and possibly talk about that too if there's time. Because, I mean, goodness, what day is it? It's the 22nd already. Time's flying. Vlogmas is almost over. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this because I loved telling you about it. And it was a fun story. You know, just a cute, short, cheesy Christmas story that had a lot of elements that I liked. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, you guys. And I'll be back tomorrow with another vlog. Bye.